This Geekster Media production starts now.
We're here today at CrossFit Rapture for So You Want to Be a Geek. Let's get geeky. Welcome to So You Want to Be a Geek, the podcast where we dive into the vibrant and ever-evolving world of geek culture. Whether you're a seasoned fan or just curious about what makes being a geek so special, join us as we explore everything from comics to movies, gaming, tech, sports, and everything in between. Each episode will bring you insights, interviews, and the latest news to fuel your passion and expand your horizons. So grab your favorite fandom and let's embark on this geeky adventure together. I'm Michael Canetti, and this is So You Want to Be a Geek. Hey guys, are you geeky about Halloween? I mean, who isn't geeky about Halloween? This month, we're partnering with HalloweenCostumes.com. This Halloween, make sure you stay on trend with all the hottest and most popular Halloween costume ideas. HalloweenCostumes.com has brand new 2024 costumes based on your favorite pop culture, events, movies, characters, and everything this year. If you're looking for the latest, the newest, the freshest, the trendiest, and the funniest, then HalloweenCostumes.com is the place to check out. They have all the newest, exciting, and best Halloween costumes for 2024. From this year's movie characters, new takes on classic characters, they've got everything you'll need to make this Halloween the best ever. If you visit HalloweenCostumes.com, we think you're going to instantly find tons of fun costume ideas for 2024 for you and the entire family, and everyone else you might know. If you click the link in our show notes or at geekstermedia.com, you can instantly save 20% on any item in your cart. So head over to HalloweenCostumes.com and find your costume for 2024 and be the envy of everyone in your neighborhood. Stay geeky, everybody. Now back to the show. Hey geeks, if you know me, you know that I love hats. And I have been, since we started this podcast, researching a company to produce hats for the podcast that I really want to promote and endorse. And I found an amazing company based in Arizona called Branded Bills. And they made this awesome hat right here with a leather patch, which is so perfect. It's got this raised print. It's really cool. They have snapbacks, they've got trucker hats, they've got fitted hats, they've got all kinds of style, and they really cater to me. My sales reps were so nice and so helpful. They answered a million questions, and they made these beautiful hats. I can't wait to order more. I absolutely love them. The quality of the material is impeccable. I can't believe it. I just wanted to take a moment to shout out Branded Bills. They are an amazing company. You should really check them out, especially if you have a podcast or a business or something where you want to give merch to people and promote your business. Branded Bills, man, this is the way to go. They have a great company. I strongly recommend them. Thank you again, Branded Bills. You guys are awesome.
Hello and welcome to another episode of So You Want to Be a Geek. And we are talking CrossFit. We are getting geeky about CrossFit today. And we are here in Brightwaters, New York at CrossFit Rapture with somebody that I have known for, I would say, over 30 years. The owner and would you be like the chief coach or the senior coach? Or
yeah, owner, operator, head coach,
awesome.
Whatever you want to call it.
The owner and head coach, Shane Arikian. Welcome. How are you?
Doing good, man. Can't complain. All is good.
Good. I'm glad. So I've been thinking about doing a CrossFit episode since the idea of this podcast came about. And I'll give you a little bit of backstory about the podcast. And I had this idea about in 2009 to do a geeky podcast. But my idea behind it was that everybody is geeky about something nowadays. It's not just like me being geeky about comic books or Lego or whatever. Like people are geeky about all sorts of stuff. And then the idea of CrossFit came about because I know anybody that does CrossFit or works out in a CrossFit gym, like it becomes part of their life. It becomes part of their culture. And I've been really, really fascinated by that whole thing. And I wanted to first hear about a little bit about your background and how this all came about.
Well, I mean, as you know, growing up, I was a soccer and lacrosse player my whole life. I was a jock, if you will. Played sports my whole life. Went to college, played soccer, played lacrosse at Stony Brook University. And then, you know, like most people, you get out of college and there's nothing there for you. What are you going to do?
Right.
Long story short, through another buddy, heard about CrossFit, started doing CrossFit, you know, got certified where I needed to get certified, started coaching, and eventually, hey, I could do this. You know, I could open my own gym. You know, I was doing a couple other things at the time. I was teaching jiu-jitsu, I was coaching soccer, and, you know, always was a gym rat. And then when I saw this business model, it was, you know, back then it was kind of beginner friendly.
Right.
So it was kind of, all right, I think I can plan this out and get this done and open a gym.
Mm-hmm.
So kind of, you know, fitness was my life. Goes away after college and shortly thereafter found CrossFit and opened the spot up and been going ever since.
That's pretty cool. So I was just down in Virginia with one of my best friends, and I was telling him I was doing this interview, and I said, "Oh," he said, "Oh, where?" I said, "Oh, I'm doing at CrossFit Rapture." He goes, "I know that place. Somebody in Virginia has heard about your place," which is really, really cool. And that was really, really neat. So, but you're not just a CrossFit owner, you're also a neurophysiologist. How does that sort of blend together? And what are those two things? How do they work?
Right. You know, back in 2007, so before I even opened this place, it's kind of one of those jobs no one's ever heard of. I never heard of it. I had a buddy who was working at a hospital who we graduated with, and he ended up getting a job. Back then, it was kind of easy to kind of slide into the field, and he ended up getting the owner to hire me and kind of train me and do all that, and kind of stepped in shit and ended up with a good job where I had no background, you know? You know, so since 2007, surgical neurophysiology, man, we go in during brain and spine surgeries, mostly spine, you know, for lack of better way to describe it, stick a bunch of needles in the patient, monitor their motor function, sensory function, nerve roots, make sure they don't get paralyzed during surgery, basically.
Wow.
Stay in contact with the surgeon and make sure everything goes well from start to finish.
Wow. That's wild.
It's a job no one knows about, but it's there.
But it's like a legit thing that like people need.
Yeah, it's you know, it's a part of the surgery. They don't really do it without it.
Yeah. So when you were looking to open this business, what was it like searching for locations and you know, doing the whole, because it's a franchise, right? To buy into a franchise, or you?
It's an affiliate model. So essentially, you pay a fee to use the word CrossFit.
Okay.
So it's not franchise. So there's thousands of these around the world, but they're all run in their own way. You get to run it how you want to run it.
Okay.
So
that's pretty cool.
You know, opening up, it was kind of fast and furious. It kind of happened really fast. Business plan for it was small, and it was like, all right, let's start out just outfitting for five people a class and see if we can grow, and then just buy more equipment as we grow. So it was relatively low cost, barrier of entry. And I was just driving by and I saw the building one day. I came in, peeked in the windows. There was a couple of boats being stored in there. I used to have only half of the building when we first opened. And I was like, wow, this is perfect warehouse space. We're in a great little village here, nice parking, and made a phone call. And basically 3 weeks later, it was kind of like let's just go for it.
Wow.
You know?
I mean, it is kind of a unique space in the sense that you have the indoor, but like if you ever go on their Instagram, they do a lot of stuff in the parking lot, exterior. So you utilize the whole space indoors and out. And I think that's very, very cool. So I'm one of those people that, you know, it's got to be forever ago now. I've lost track. Maybe more than 10 years ago, I bought like a Groupon and tried a CrossFit gym once. And, you know, I never felt that particular location was the right fit for me. And I think a lot of that has to do with culture and community.
Yeah.
And the one thing that I've noticed with your gym is that like people really want to be here. They want to be a part of the community. How did you go about growing that? And
Well, I mean, a lot of mistakes have been made over the years, as in any business, and you learn. But it's kind of one of those things where I have learned to let the community mold itself.
okay.
You can go to 10 different gyms and hate 9 of them. And then one of them's just the place
Right.
you feel you're going to fit in and you want to be. I mean, our clientele here, we range from 13 years old to 75 years old.
Wow.
We have doctors, dentists, surgeons, lawyers, plumbers, teachers, firefighters, cops, stay-at-home moms, So I think that's across the board in every CrossFit gym you go to, you get, there's one of everybody there, But when everyone's in here and we're working out, you're all just a regular person. And the community kind of molds itself and everyone, I mean, from my experience in this community, in this area, everyone's just friendly. You walk into a gym, everyone's going to introduce themselves, shake hands, whatever, and kind of classes take on their own kind of identity, based on, we got our crazy 5 a.m. people who work out every day at 5 a.m. Every class takes on its own identity, but everyone, in my experience, no matter what gym you go to, everybody's friendly. And,
Cool.
You got to like the gym, listen, 15 years ago, there were some dirty CrossFit gyms and, that used to be the style. It was warehouse. It was grunt. It was
rocky.
It was very different. A lot has changed. A lot has changed over time. These days a clean gym matters.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. People,
it should have mattered back then, but just the style of the way CrossFit came up, it was, hey, we're gonna lay on the floor. We're gonna do burpees. There's gonna be chalk everywhere, and we're gonna get dirty, but we're gonna get fit. It's changed over the years, but one thing remains the same. You go to a CrossFit gym and you're consistent, you're gonna stay fit.
For those who have maybe never tried CrossFit and they like go on Instagram or go on YouTube, people like lifting, incredible amounts of weight. How do they get over that timidness to want to come in the door? Like what is the idea of saying, hey, listen, you're not going to be Iron Man, when you walk in?
I mean, I think it's important as a gym owner to let everyone know, especially via social media and stuff, that's not the only avatar you have in your gym. We're not just catering to a bunch of, big guys and big girls who can lift heavy weights. You have, stay-at-home moms. Some of them are lifting heavy. Some of them are keeping it light. You have everyone every day is essentially doing the same workout. They're just doing their own version of it.
Right.
I think that's something that's evolved in the CrossFit world. 15 years ago, it was, come on, you can go heavier. You can do this. It was just, let's pack on more weight and let's keep going. I think over time, in general, it's evolved into, how do you make this a long-term thing? How do you sustain, doing it over a long period of time? And you're going to have to smarten up and do things the right way. And, some people are going to have to change movements. If a certain movement doesn't work for them, they're going to do what does work for them. So I think it's important to put out there that, on your social media that, there are all different types of people. Right. You got 100-pound, stay-at-home mom, and you also are going to have those big, scary looking guys. But, we have a lot of those big, scary looking guys here. 99.9% of them, they're teddy bears when you talk to them, and I think that's a good thing. And it's good when people come in here and they're made to feel comfortable by the bigger, muscular guy who's lifting a ton of weight, as well as the person who's doing their own thing much lighter and kind of changing things up. It kind of shows them, there's all different types of people in here doing all different types of things, and anyone could do it.
How does somebody avoid injury or like,
I personally think, for me in my life, I've never been hurt doing CrossFit. I get hurt when I go play soccer and when I go play other sports, or like my son jumps off the couch and I'm not ready for it and I try and catch him. But, in most cases, it's all about being smart. You're in control of everything you're doing. coaching matters because sometimes you got to pump the brakes for people when they don't want to. You got to tell them, hey, I don't think that's a good idea. Why don't we do this instead? And then, as we see you progress a little bit more and we think you're ready for that, then we'll move you on to that. So in most cases, you're in control of what you're doing. Of course, like anything else, there are freak things that happen, but, most people in here, they don't get hurt in here. They get hurt at beach volleyball when they go play soccer on the weekends or
weekend warrior stuff.
It's very rare that it happens in here, like you said, you're walking in the subway, you hurt you
rolled my ankle and it ended up being a stress fracture.
Yeah.
Like
most things don't happen in here. We've been fortunate over the years. I think, we've learned to adjust and make sure, because in the end, you don't want someone to come here for 3 months, start to progress and then be gone. You want to be here for many years. And I think here, the majority of our clients have been here since the first 2-3 years. Like how many people I have that have been here for 12, 13 years is crazy. You want people to do it for a long time and sustain it, not be here and be gone.
How did you navigate through COVID with like shutdowns and all that kind of stuff?
Surviving COVID was a testament to my community and the community that, kind of created itself over the years. Like most gyms, there were gyms who rented out their equipment, who did Zoom classes, who did, all that. I started keeping track of, I was loaning equipment out. I was writing stuff down on index cards. And after about 10 minutes of mayhem, I said, guys, just take it all. Take it home. I trust you all. Just bring it back. When this is over, bring it back. And, I'd say 85-90% of them were like, hey, we're with you. We're going to stick around. We're going to pay, we'll take the equipment. We'll get together and work out at a track at someone's house. We'll make it happen. But
so like you couldn't even use the parking lot because people would come by and you'd get fined for just like having a gathering of, 5 people in a parking lot.
Yeah. So it was mostly, everyone took their equipment and they were working out at home and, undercover workouts at home. But I took that as an opportunity in here. I just came here every day. The gym was empty. It was a good time to deep clean, repaint, get everything, looking new again, do some construction. So, me and 1 or 2 other guys were in here, putting up walls, painting, just getting it ready for when things got back to normal.
Wow. So what are some of the challenges you faced as a business owner, but also you have another job as well? Like, how do you balance all those different things, running this business, as well as, being a father, being a parent, and, also doing your other job as well?
Again, it goes back to loyalty and people who have been with me for a long time. I have a great manager. She's been here since the beginning. My coaching staff, I have about, 12 coaches. And, I built the business to the point where, I don't coach anymore. I'm not physically on the floor coaching. My manager takes care of scheduling, staffing. They all handle when they need coverage. I tell them, I'm too busy to be getting text messages about you guys going on vacation. If you sort it out, get your hours covered, I'm cool with it.
Right.
So they're very good about that. And, whenever I can be here, I'm here. I try and work out 4 days a week if I can. My kids got busy sports schedules.
Tell me about it. My daughter's a swimmer and it's swim meets and practices constantly.
My kids are doing soccer, which is, I love it. It's fun because that was my thing. So, shuffling them around to practices, going away weekends for tournament stuff. I love it. But it's good to know I have a loyal staff that's been with me for a long time, that they're holding down the fort when I'm not here.
That's cool.
So,
you got to have people that you can trust and rely on, because you can't be a one-person army anymore.
Oh, yeah.
This is impossible.
I learned that over the years that, there were times where I was coaching every class and I was just drained. And, there was a brief period where I took off from the medical field for like 3 or 4 years because I wanted to compete, CrossFit Games this and CrossFit Games that. And I was coaching a lot during that time. And, my brother was a big help during that time too, because he was my head coach. But I've learned that if you're here too much as an owner, everyone knows when you're pissed off.
Yeah.
people start to piss you off because you're around them too much, and little things start to irk you, and it just becomes, poison in general. So I kind of was like, all right, I have this job. I can kind of step back from here and try and just run it from the business end and make sure everything is covered and going. And I think that's been a big thing, is being able to step back. I'm fortunate that I'm able to step back, and I don't have to coach every class and be here. Every time the phone rings that the toilet's clogged, I got to drive down to the gym,
Right.
I'm fortunate in that aspect. I trust my coaches. I let my coaches do their thing. I let them coach, and I trust that the product is there. And, I get to, I think my mom said best yesterday. She's like, you get to go there, you get to work out, you get to, shake hands and hug babies. But
it's a testament to building say that again. It's a testament to like building the culture over all these years that I used to work for Apple, and, Apple is big on culture and core values and things like that. And, they want you to do things a certain way, and it sort of trickles down and carries on. And I carry that a lot I feel like I work now more in my 40s than I did in my 20s. I have a couple of different jobs, teaching and doing other things. I have a small business that I run as well. And I try to carry that mantra with me, whatever my culture is. And I feel like you've built that here, where you could say, okay, I can let these people do this because they know what I'm looking for, and I can trust that they're going to fulfill the needs that not only just the place needs, but the customer needs as well.
Yeah. And that's, it's another thing. It's, they're your coach. They're your coaches for all your classes, but in 99% of the time, they're your friends too. So, everyone gets along. Everyone's, shit happens in the world. We have coaches that they get stuck in traffic or they're in an accident. There's always people here that are like, all right, we know what to do.
Right.
Let's get going on the warm up. Coach is going to be here in a few minutes late. We'll make it work. So, the support of the community for the coaches as well is huge.
That's cool. Now, one of the things that I find so fascinating about CrossFit is it is very unique and different than like your LA Fitness kind of a place, right? Where it's very commercial and everyone's sort of on their own mostly. How is it that people gravitate to that unique sort of environment and, leave that commercial, Planet Fitness, LA Fitness, and come to a place like this where they feel like it's more individualized connection?
Yeah, I think, excuse me, I think, I was a commercial gym guy for the majority of my life. And I think over the years that for some people it can just get monotonous. And until you see a place like this, whether it be, like I said before, whether it be CrossFit or like an Orange Theory or F45, a group fitness place where you can walk in and you're essentially going to get your hand held through the class. Like, we're going to tell you what to do. You don't have to think about anything. You don't have to wait for a machine. You don't have to, wait for a treadmill or whatever and just figure out what you're going to do next. You come in here, it's like, all right, guys, here we go. We got to warm up. Here's what it's going to be. Let's start going through that. And then we're going to do part B, which is XYZ, whatever it is. We're going to do some back squats. And then, after that, we're going to do, here's the workout, 15 minutes, XYZ, and we're going to do it all together. We start the clock together. We suffer together. We finish together. We high five. After class, we go for a little walk, cool down. We call them delivery walks. We walk 400 meters to this little delivery sign and we come back, and that's like the social part. It's like you get that while you're warming up. You're next to your friends. You're talking about the weekend. You're talking about, everyone's going through their daily shit or their daily struggles in work, in, at home. They got their kids. They're running all over the place, like we said. But, when you're in here, it's like, that's your hour, man.
Right.
You shut that all out and you're with your friends. You go hard, and that's why most people say, it's cliche, but the best hour of their day.
Like I'm a big yoga person. I've been doing like hot yoga for over a decade now. And one of the things that, they always say is like, take this 45 minutes of this hour, make that for you.
Yep.
Shut off the rest of the world.
That's it.
And just be in that moment. And it's one of the hardest things to do in life is just turn off the noise in your head and be in the moment. And I think having the community where people are going to be there to encourage you and you know, everyone's going through their own stuff, like you said, but like you can kind of say, oh, all right, let's help each other. Let's build together. And I think that's a really special thing, which is cool. That's awesome.
Yeah.
So one of the things I've always been very interested about is like the tournament aspect or the games aspect of CrossFit. And you just said that the gym here had a big event in New Jersey this weekend. Like, what is that all about? How does this sort of camaraderie thing come about with that?
So, I mean, a lot of the confusion is you see CrossFit on TV, and that's the 0.01% of the world. Those are the fittest 40 men and women in the CrossFit world on the planet. So what you see them doing on TV is not a regular thing you see in a CrossFit gym. You know, when we compete on a more local level, we just went to a competition in Asbury Park in New Jersey, and you know, we had an elite team, which is that pro level. You know, we had a masters team, which is a couple of the dads we have here. They're 37 to 40 years old. In that masters division, we had a couple of what is called RX teams, which is just like your run of the mill. They can do everything. And again, it's the elite guys are doing the heavier weights, the more complex stuff. The masters guys are close, doing a lot of this, all the same stuff, maybe a little bit lighter. And the RX guys are doing that run of the mill. They can do everything and they're going through it. But, when you compete on that local level, it's not, some of the stuff you see is the same, but a lot of the crazy stuff is completely
it's more
different.
realistic. Yeah.
So, we had an awesome weekend. Our athletes went there and they cooked, man. Our elite team took first place. Our masters men, they defended their title. They took their second first place 2 years in a row. And then we had a fourth place RX team, and, good things happened all weekend. First workout of the day yesterday, all 5 of our teams won their heats, which was pretty cool. And, we had probably 30 different people over the course of the weekend between Saturday and Sunday who drove to Asbury, just to support. Some of the guys had their kids there. People came to support, brought their babies. We got our tent set up, and it just shows that, again, that community thing. You're not going to compete by yourself. Your friends came to watch you. They're not working out. They don't have any skin in the game, but you're there and they want to support you.
That's cool.
You get a couple Airbnbs, go out to dinner a couple times, watch these guys compete, and it was a blast, and they crushed it.
That's cool. That's really, really cool. One of the things about fitness I find for a lot of people is they say that, it just can't be X. Like you want to make something sort of like a lifestyle change and make it part of your vernacular and part of yourself. And, what are some of the things that the athletes that you have here, or just general whoever's, like, how do they make that what you teach here in the gym part of their everyday lives and part of their own vernacular?
Yeah. I mean, I think it's, there's all different levels to it. I mean, you have people that are here 5-6 days a week doing extra work, keeping tabs on their diet. It's they eat healthy, their kids eat healthy, their wives eat healthy. They do it as a team. You also have people who just, they want to come work out with their friends for an hour.
Mm-hmm.
They like to go out to happy hour. But the social aspect of it is huge.
Right.
Keeps them coming back.
This episode of So You Want to Be a Geek is brought to you by Comics Capsules. These are a great product for protecting your comics. They are UV resistant, crystal clear. They are stackable. They fit in your regular long and short boxes. They fully encapsulate your comics with a flip top hinge that allows you to access your comics anytime you want. They'll even fit with the bag and board in the sleeve. It is really, really cool. They have this great little eye hook. I have some hanging up back there. I have some over there on display. Because sometimes you just want to display your cool comics without having to send them out to CGC and waiting and spending a fortune on getting them graded. This stuff works great. I really, really love them. can even have like a dedicated label inside of them. They're super awesome. So our sponsor for this episode of So You Want to Be a Geek is Comics Capsule. Do you like hot sauce? I know I do. Well, one of our sponsors for this week's episode is Jablo Hot Sauce. They are a family-owned, locally produced, amazing Filipino hot sauce that was recently featured on Hot Ones. You're gonna love it. You can put it on everything from hummus to meats to vegetables, whatever you think of. They are a great company, family-owned, and locally produced Filipino hot sauce. If you want to find out where the punch is, check out Jablo Hot Sauce.
There's all different levels to it. And I think even at its lowest level, if you're just coming in and working out 3-4 days a week, and if you want to, if you're not eating the best and you're not, taking care of the other things, at least you're working out.
Mm-hmm.
Do one thing. If you can't do all the things, do one thing. And then you have the people that are in their diets on point, this and that. And, you can tell who those people are.
Right.
But it's good to see that and have friends doing that, because there's advice everywhere for everyone. Someone who's only starting new, they'll go talk to someone and like, how do you do this? What do you do for that? And everyone's more than happy to give advice and help each other out.
That's cool.
So it's good from a support standpoint. If this is something new to you and you don't know what to do, there's plenty of people in here that have done it for a long time. And, we have nutritionists that work out here. We have, people from all walks of life, like I said. Mm-hmm. So there's no shortage on advice and help.
That's cool. So CrossFit is, I hate to even call it a gym, because it's more than a gym. It's something else entirely. But I find it so interesting that so many CrossFit locations have unique names. Like your name is CrossFit Rapture. Like, where did that come from? Or like, how does this sort of naming convention come up?
I mean, there's a pool. If a name's taken, you can't take it again. Thankfully, when I opened in 2011, there weren't as many gyms. A lot of the gyms were named after their town.
Right, yeah, like CrossFit Babylon or CrossFit Lindenhurst or whatever.
Like, there's their area code or their zip code.
Yeah.
When I was thinking about it, I wanted more like a cool word, and I had a couple names picked out. I was like, I really like Rapture. It has its biblical meaning, but it also has its like, moment of euphoria meaning. Mm-hmm. And then, that was in my head. I was like, I think I want to use that. And then I was in the car, and I think a Paramore song that came out back around then, there was a line that said, "It's not a war, it's a rapture." And I was like,
it was like a sign.
There's the sign. That's it. Let's file this paperwork, and the name got accepted, and that was it, man.
That's cool. I also have noticed that a lot of CrossFit is closely connected to like the military. Like you have the Murph workout, and is there any particular workouts that you really connect with or that you have implemented into your gym, and like why is the military such a close connection to CrossFit?
Yeah, I mean, we do Murph every year. That's just like a staple in the CrossFit world. Mm-hmm. We've done fundraising over the years, not necessarily super connected to the military, but we've raised a couple $100,000 for breast cancer. We've had many members, many women come through here who have gotten breast cancer or beaten breast cancer, or family members. My ex-wife's mother unfortunately passed away from breast cancer, so it hits close to home for a lot of us. We support the local dog tag run, which deals with veteran suicide. You kind of find all these little, different times a year, there are different things going on, different fundraisers going on, and you just want to try and be a part of them all.
Right.
It's another thing with this community is people are so giving. If they can, get their ass kicked in a workout and donate money for it, they're in.
Wow.
It's just kind of a community thing. That's what we do. So it's like we do our Murph, we do our barbells for boobs. We do our dog tag run. We support them, which is obviously, like I said, the veteran suicide.
Right.
But anyone who comes to me with any kind of fundraiser, usually I'm game. You know, let's do it. And everyone just follows, and they're more than happy to take part.
That's cool. I mean, it's one thing to have the location, but also be so open to be giving back and doing other things is really special and really nice. You should be really proud of yourself for that.
Yeah,
That's
man.
that's awesome. So I was saying sort of early on in the conversation, like, you know, I've been a geek my whole life, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I've been geeky about, you know, comic books and Lego and movies and Batman or whatever, right? And, you know, the idea behind and the whole point of this podcast for me is to redefine what it means to be a geek today, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because growing up when we went to school, I was tortured by people for being a geek. Like, guys we went to school with would just torture me. And, you know, it's sort of kind of changed my perspective on a lot of things and took me years to get over some of the things of bullying and whatnot. And so what I find interesting is, like, even though you said, you know, you have, you know, big guys or you have moms or whoever, that it doesn't feel there's any kind of like the culture is like all are welcome and all are accepted. And
Mm-hmm.
and I think that's special because you there's a stigma to CrossFit gyms that, you know, of the early 2000s or whatever, that
Yeah.
it's just, you know, these gritty Rocky style, you know, Hercules gyms.
Yeah.
And I find that really special that you have had the ability to step beyond that and make it more, you know, that's really, really cool. And it's a real nice testament to you and the culture you built.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, first off, I'm still a Lego geek. Like when I was a kid, as we showed, I got a bucket of Legos here. I'm still building my son's Legos at home. You know, aside, you know, from, you know, when we're young, unfortunately, we're dumb. Like
Right.
we say, I think bullying happens a lot, and then when you grow up, we realize, like, why did I do that?
Yeah.
You know, that I think that goes on most across the board. Unfortunately, when you're a kid, you can't really regulate things, and you're trying to show off, you're trying to be cool.
Yeah.
And then you grow up, and, you know, you start to like those things you bullied someone for. You know, who knows? But, you know, when you're all adults, and like you said, you come in here for an hour, you're shutting everything else out.
Right.
It doesn't matter. You know, we're all going through the same struggle every day with every workout. You know, we're all doing the same thing. We're dead at the end. We started together, we finished together, and you know, that's that. We're all one when we're here.
Mhm.
You know, everyone's the same. We're all doing the same thing. Doesn't matter where you are in life, what you do for a living. You know, it's a cool thing, man.
Yeah. And it's interesting because, like, you know, you might see people coming and going, right? But you don't know what's going on in their personal life, like what's
Mhm.
happening outside. And, you know, I used to say this at Apple, like I was always the guy that I was an Apple genius, right? I would repair all the phones and computers and so on and so forth. But they would send all the customers that were really, really like irate to me. They'd be screaming and yelling at me because their phone was broken. And what you learn is, whatever that issue is, whether it's their phone being a cracked screen or whatever, that's the straw that broke the camel's back of what they're really dealing with. Like you said, someone might have cancer or something like
Yeah.
that. And, you know, having that space where it's like, okay, I can turn off this,
Yeah.
this like gnawing thing that's going on in the back of my head all the time and
Yeah.
come here and just make that time for me is really, really nice. And
Yeah,
Cool.
man, you never know you know, like they say, you never know what kind of silent battles people
Yeah.
are going through. Here, it's like owning this for as long as I owned it. There's a part of it I'm the owner. There's a part where I was a coach, and there's a part where I'm a psychologist. You know,
oh yeah,
because as the owner, and you get close with people, and it's like, I can't tell you how many women told me they were pregnant before they told their husbands.
Wow.
You know, it's like I tend to find out about a lot of things, you know, because they tell me because they're worried about working out,
Mhm.
you know. But you tend to become somewhat of a psychologist, and a lot of people lay their stuff on you. But this is where the release happens. This is where they get to let it go, man. So, you know, throw your burdens. You know, tell me all about them. I'll listen. You know, but the medicine's right here, man. You do this workout, you're not going to feel any of that pain for an hour. You know, you're going to be in the zone. You're going to be working out, and, you know, just let it go and have at it.
I think that's the perfect way to wrap it up. The medicine's right here. I couldn't have scripted that one. That was beautiful.
That's it.
Shane, this was fantastic. I was really, really happy to even, be able to come here and do this and hang out with you and catch up after 25 years. It's just been bananas to think about. But,
Yeah.
Thank you again. And, where can people follow you on socials to check out the gym?
We're on Instagram is at CF Rapture. Facebook's CrossFit Rapture. I've never been good at the tech stuff. I'm more of a reposter. I have some, like I was saying before, I have some really, really good tech people and some influencers that come here and exercise here. And, they're really good about posting stuff and giving us the tag so I can hit it with the repost. But
Nice.
I'm learning.
This was a really, really fantastic episode. Thank you all for tuning in to So You Want to Be a Geek, and who are here at CrossFit Rapture in Bright Waters. I loved this conversation. You can follow us on our social medias, which is at Switbag, which is SYWTBAG. It was a joke that I had with a friend of mine. I just think kind of a funny term. You can also go to our website, which is soyouwannabeageek.com. You can go to our TeePublic store, buy some merch. We got all kinds of cool stuff going on, and we've got a really great bunch of episodes coming up down the road. So thank you so much for tuning in, and we'll see you next time. Stay geeky, everybody. Bye for now.
Well, that's our show, and I want to thank my guest, Shane Arikian, and everybody over at CrossFit Rapture for hosting me on this really fun conversation about CrossFit and fitness and just life in general. If you want to learn more about CrossFit or CrossFit Rapture, go on their website, check out social media, and we'll see you next time on So You Want to Be a Geek. Thanks for tuning into this episode of So You Want to Be a Geek. We'd like to thank the Geekster Media Network. I'm Michael Canetti. I'm your host, producer, and editor. We hope you enjoyed the journey into geekdom as much as we did. Don't forget to subscribe, rate, and leave a review on your favorite podcast platform. Follow us on Instagram and TikTok at Switbag for updates, behind-the-scenes content, and more geeky goodness. Have a topic you'd like us to discuss or a guest you'd like to hear from? Let us know. So you want to be a geek at gmail.com and stay up to date and join the conversation. Until next time, keep embracing that inner geek, and remember, the adventure never ends.
This has been a Geekster Media production.